The streets of Karachi are always alive, with the sound of honking rickshaws, vendors shouting over each other, and footsteps constantly moving. But amidst the chaos, a young boy named Zayan, around 10 years old, moved silently through the crowd. Barefoot, dressed in torn clothes, and carrying nothing but a dirty school notebook with half its pages missing, Zayan was invisible to most. He wasn't a thief. He wasn't a beggar either. He was just a boy who had no one. His parents had died in a road accident when he was 6, and ever since, Zayan had wandered from street to street, surviving on crumbs, sleeping on pavements, and guarding his only treasure, a dream. A dream of becoming someone. A dream of wearing clean clothes, speaking fluent English, and maybe one day, becoming a businessman. But how do you chase dreams when your stomach is empty? One cold winter evening, Zayan stood outside a small bakery near Sad Dar, his nose pressed against the glass, eyes fixed on the golden buns being displayed inside. He hadn't eaten in 2 days. The aroma of freshly baked bread tortured him. He didn't beg. He simply stood there, silently. Inside, an old man named Mr. Aslam noticed him. A kind-hearted bakery owner in his 60s, Mr. Aslam had seen many children pass by, but something about Zayan's eyes stopped him. They were sad, but not hopeless. He stepped outside and gently asked, "Beta, buk lagi hai?" Zayan nodded slowly, still unsure if this was a trick. Mr. Aslam led him inside, made him sit, and served him a warm bun with butter and a cup of chai. Zayan devoured it like a wild cub. But what Mr. Aslam did next changed everything. He packed a small parcel of food and added a clean notebook and pen. He looked at the boy and said, "Zindagi main sab kuch milta hai agar dil saf ho or nayat mazbut. Tum main dano hain. Pad hai yari rakna." Tears welled in Zayan's eyes. No one had shown him such love since his parents died. That day, Zayan didn't just eat food, he tasted hope. The journey begins. Mr. Aslam didn't stop there. Over the next few weeks, he made sure Zayan had at least one proper meal a day. Slowly, he began to teach the boy basic reading and writing. Zayan soaked knowledge like a sponge. Eventually, Mr. Aslam contacted a friend who ran a shelter for orphans. With Zayan's permission, he arranged for him to stay there. The shelter provided food, clothes, and, most importantly, education. Zayan wasn't the most talented student, but he was the most determined. He studied under streetlights when electricity failed. He helped clean the shelter, assisted younger kids, and never once missed a class. He remembered Mr. Aslam's words like a prayer. Years passed. At 16, Zayan scored among the top 10 students in Karachi board. A local NGO heard about his story and sponsored his college education. At 18, he stood in front of the very bakery where it all began. Mr. Aslam, now old and tired, sat on a stool outside. "Abu Ji," Zayan whispered, his voice trembling. Mr. Aslam looked up and smiled, "Muyi pata the tum lot kuayoch." They hugged. This was no longer a boy and a bakery owner, it was family. From student to entrepreneur. Zayan got into a top business university on a full scholarship. While others partied, Zayan worked night shifts at call centers and managed part-time jobs to support the shelter that once saved him. He studied technology, marketing, and entrepreneurship. He spent hours in the library, learning from stories of business tycoons. But more than anything, he wanted to create something that could help others like him. During his final year of university, he developed an idea, an online platform called Umeed, aimed at connecting homeless children with verified donors, schools, and shelters. People called it unrealistic. But Zayan had built his life on impossible dreams. He pitched his startup to a panel of investors. While others brought data and jargon, Zayan told his story. "I was a street child. I slept on benches, I begged for dignity, not money. And I was rescued by one man's kindness. Today, I want to build a system where kindness doesn't have to wait for luck. Silence. Then applause. One investor stood up and said, "You've got funding. And you've got my respect." That night, Zayan walked home, not to a bench, not to a shelter, but to a small apartment he rented with his first startup money. He looked at the stars and whispered, "Mr. Aslam, I hope I make you proud." Years later, the CEO returns. 10 years later, a grand auditorium was filled with university students, professors, and media personalities. The guest speaker for the convocation was now a successful entrepreneur, philanthropist, and CEO of Yumid, Zayan Khan. He stepped onto the stage wearing a sleek black suit, confidence in his posture, and kindness in his eyes. As he reached the podium, a slideshow played behind him, childhood photos, street pictures, the old bakery. He began his speech. 10 years ago, I had no home, no family, no future. I had nothing. Except one thing, a stranger's kindness. An old man who fed a street boy without asking his name. That one moment became the seed of everything I am today. We talk about changing the world. But what if I told you the world changes with just one meal, one notebook, one kind word? My life is not a story of luck, it's a story of someone caring when they didn't have to. And if you ever doubt your power to make a difference, remember this: a bakery owner changed the world by saving one hungry child. Be that person. Feed someone. Listen to someone. Believe in someone. Because kindness is never small. It's the spark that ignites destinies. As he ended his speech, the auditorium gave him a standing ovation. Many were in tears. But Zayan's eyes searched the crowd until they landed on the front row, where Mr. Aslam, now in a wheelchair, was sitting, wiping his eyes with a trembling hand. Zayan stepped off the stage, walked to him, knelt down, and whispered, "Main CEO Hun Surf is Liya, Kyunk Aapne Ek Din Mui Ro Tdt." The full circle. Today, Yumid operates in over 50 cities, helping thousands of children find shelter, education, and support. Zayan never forgot his roots. Every month, he visits the bakery, now renamed Aslam's Hope, and personally serves meals to children passing by. His office desk has 2 items framed. 1, the old, torn notebook from his childhood. 2, a picture of Mr. Aslam handing him his first meal. In interviews, when asked what the secret to his success is, he always says, "It all started with one act of kindness." Small orange diamond message of the story. No act of kindness is ever wasted. Even feeding a single hungry child can build a CEO, a leader, a world changer. So if you ever feel powerless, remember Zayan. And remember the man who chose kindness over indifference. Because you never know. Your one kind act might just change the world.